What up, Whiskey Ginger fans? Welcome back to the show. If it's your first time joining the show, welcome to the show. We got a good one for you today. Like my man Steve Harvey done say, it's Carrot Top. Wow. What else do you want to know, man? Been in the game for so long. I'm happy to have him on the show. He doesn't do too many pod appearances, so blessings from the other Ginge in the desert. I am on tour, ladies and gentlemen, this fall. Me and the Bobby Lee are going to be running around all over the place. Chicago, we're going to Denver, we're going to Boston, we're over there in Pittsburgh, Rochester, Cleveland. We're everywhere. Come see me, DC, Milwaukee, Madison. Come out and see me and Bobby. Go to badfriendspod.com, badfriendspod.com for those tickets. Also, hint, hint, we might be touring around the world in the new year. We might go down under. We might. And we might go to Western Europe. Okay, dude? All right. We'll see. Keep you posted. Go to badfriendspod.com. Enough rambling from me. Let's go to the episode.
In here, we pour whisk, 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 whisk.
You're that creature in the ginger beard.
Sturdy and ginger.
Like vampires, the ginger gene is a curse.
Gingers are beautiful.
You owe me $5 for the whiskey and $75 for the horse.
Gingers? Oh, hell no.
This whiskey is excellent.
Ginger. I like gingers.
Okay, here we go. Let's get started.
Andrew, right?
Yes.
Right, Andrew.
Tis I.
I love you.
I love
the
you
red
too,
hair.
man.
No, I love it. I was thinking of all podcasts that if I haven't gotten to be on.
This should be the
I'd
one.
be really pissed off if I didn't get to be on the Ginger
That's what
Drink
I'm talking
Whiskey.
about. Let me start it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Whiskey Ginger. My guest today is one of my favorite people on earth. I say that for all my guests, but I mean it once again today. It is Carrot Top.
All right, thank you, buddy.
Dude, how are you? Cheers.
I'm very good. Thank you
Cheers
for
to
letting me
you.
be on. I feel like I sound like Maude.
Yeah. Am I
Now
Harold?
listen to me, kids.
Am I Harold then? Is that what it is?
I think, yeah, yes.
Just a little
Well, which
something
one's
to
that? That's nice.
soothe the
That's
throat.
oh, shit. Oh, these glasses. Well, that'll fuck you up.
Yeah, it might make you feel, yeah.
Ooh, what is that
Just to
one?
tickle you, huh?
Wow, what is that one?
You like that?
I wouldn't say I love it, but I don't dislike it.
You don't dislike it, but you
it's
don't like it.
It's good. It's you taste it.
It's strong. It's got some depth
Sometimes
to it.
you like Crown. It's like she has like sugar water. That's whiskey.
That's smooth. This
That's
is
a
good.
man's drink.
This is a man's drink.
Damn it! Get my guns out.
Yeah, no, please put both out. Look at
Get
this,
these fucking
dude.
guns out.
How many days a week are you in the gym? What are we talking?
Oh, I just go. I look bigger. I'm not really that big. People.
You never are in the gym?
No, I go to the gym.
How many days
I
a
got
week?
Mike Tyson hit me like 4 years ago in the arm, and
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. It's still swollen.
It's
still
numb,
swollen.
your left arm?
No, he hit me so hard.
Oh, luckily it's not your lead arm. Are you a righty?
I am a righty.
Well, then you're fine. Don't worry about it.
No, I go to the gym like every day, but for like 40 minutes, and I don't lift a lot of weight.
Every
and
day?
people meet me, they always say, "Oh, I thought you were like bigger and like this big monster." And they meet me, and I weigh like 160 pounds.
Yeah, but let's be
I
honest.
appear to be bigger.
You did
like in
get
porn,
very big.
TV ads. No, this has always been my. I just there's pictures that people did that they did something to it that I look like. Yeah, because I forget it was Howard Stern or one of these shows, and they were like, I walks in, he's like, "You're like a normal guy." I said, "Well, what did you think? You thought you were like this freaking animal weirdo?" I said, "Well, I am still a little bit weirdo, but I wasn't like this freakish looking. They thought I was just
Sure.
freak, but I'm 160.
160.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not a tall guy, but you're
No,
still
I
still
got
jacked.
a little bit for a comic, you know.
Yeah, for
people
a
always say
comic.
for a comic you got muscles.
You just want to you don't want to do Joe Piscopo. You don't want to
No,
go Piscopo
no.
big.
And I
That's-
know Joe Piscopo. He's a nice guy.
But he was huge.
But it was too much. I mean, it was too much. I think even he realized it was too much, at some point.
The moment that Joe Piscopo looked in the mirror and was like,
Well, I mean,
this
he
is
probably
too
did.
much.
He's like,
This is
it might
ridiculous.
be.
Why would I do this?
If you could just take the microphone, just crush it.
Look, you are a figure. You're a figurehead in comedy and have been for so long. There isn't probably a person that doesn't know who you are if they know anything about comedy whatsoever. You've been living in Vegas for 20 years. How long have you been there?
No longer than full time.
Yeah.
About that.
20 years.
Full time, but I've been going for about 38 years. 28 years. Sorry.
And 6 nights a week, you're still out
6
there.
nights a week. That's why I have no voice. Yeah.
There's not one. So the one night you have off is Sunday or Monday.
Sunday, and here I am,
And here you are. And you're still working.
still working, baby.
What do you think? Is it because you're addicted to the game?
I just saw an interview literally last night about and I wish I'll think it'll come to me about how long do you want to do this and when are you gonna, and the answer was like, I don't even think about that. I like, when are you gonna retire? I'm like, there's no thought process of retiring. I still
Sure.
feel like a kid, and I love it. I think that was the interview. Was the guy said, "Do you still like doing what you do?" And he said, "Yeah, I have more energy now than I did then, which is true. I think you learn the craft a little bit more. You get a little more confident. I love writing. I love trying new jokes.
Yeah.
Every night, I'll try 5 or 6 things. Even if they eat shit, I do them. And my crew always knows they love that part of it, though. I hate when comics just do the same shit forever. Don't try to be creative. And don't try to... Eating it is part of growing as a comic.
But you got to throw in some of the hits.
Oh no, you
You're
don't do a
throwing in the
whole hour.
bangers.
You don't do a whole hour. No,
Yeah.
no.
No.
You sprinkle in like like it evolves. Like I do a Barbie joke last night, or I do a Trump something new that just happened. The Coke in the White House, something where people are like, oh, he's following the news. He's reading the paper.
So if they saw you Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, they're not getting the exact same show.
No.
If they came to every show, if somebody stayed for a whole week in Vegas.
No, definitely not for a whole week. No.
Wow.
But as comics, people always say like, because they see Chris Rock or people that do hour specials, they always just think and assume that every comic just every night has a whole new hour.
Well, yeah.
And it's always so funny. You're like, well, I saw you on Saturday. Early show, and then I'm gonna stick around with the second show. Is it the same? I might add the word, like a different word in there, but it's gonna be close to the same.
It'd be pretty close. The idea that I think people have started to become more keen about what it takes to put together an hour, particularly because comics now are a little bit more transparent. Like, Tom Segura is a good buddy. He'll literally say on his tour, working out new shit.
Right.
Like he'll just tell you, dude, I'm going on a new tour to do clubs so I can get to the theater, so I can get to the thing. I think the transparency helps us feel a little bit more comfortable going, dude, I'm going to give you some bangers, but I have to, where else can I do this thing?
I do the same, but I don't tell my audience. I just throw in the shit, and then they go, this new one, right? I say, yeah. They kind of know.
Do the hits!
Yeah.
Well, do you get requests for stuff that people have favorite
I still
bits?
get my Wendy's. People yell at me when I do your Wendy's. It's a stupid, it's not even a joke. It's just, it was one of my very first things. I was performing in the Bahamas at a comedy club, and the only restaurant that we would go to was a Wendy's. And so we went in there every day we were there for 2 weeks at this club. And every day, we'd walk in, the whole people that worked at Wendy's laughed at me. And I just figured they're laughing at me because I look like this. And then finally the girl's like, oh, you're the, I was like, what? Oh, I'm the Wendy's girl. So literally it was like the running gag. So my friend and I said, I got to go to a club and get like, or go to a store and get like, a couple scrunchies and put my hair in pigtails, and I'd hold up the bag. Look, it's Wendy. She's here, and it turned into a 20-minute routine,
right,
about Wendy's. So people still yell, "Do your Wendy's?" I'm like,
Thank you,
really...
Bahamanians. That's very nice of them. They gave you a little something.
Yeah.
Do you get now because it's Vegas? Like I'm so curious because I played Vegas. When I played the Vegas, I played Win.
Sure. So one of my jokes.
Are we dying?
You're not going to win at the Vegas. They can't even spell it.
That's insane. That's a military helicopter for sure.
That is definitely.
That's so loud.
They're coming for us.
Yeah, well, that's fine. Shoot us now. They're like 2 in 1 room.
I know, right? You got a good target.
Yeah, 2 gingers at once, dude. Park. We've been waiting for this moment.
We don't really mingle a lot together, do we?
Gingers, no.
Yeah,
no, we're pretty
kinda
separate.
Spread them out
separate but equal. That's what we say.
We already have 2 in here. Thank you.
Well, have you ever had a relationship with a redheaded person?
No, people. That's funny. I've not. No.
Yeah, most of us don't want to.
No, right.
Yeah, it's only because we're not repulsed by one another, but we see so much of ourself in another redhead that we're like.
That was one of my. I'd say one of my jokes. It wasn't. It was just. I've been doing this for too long, but it was a bit somewhere. Where I say they always think that we're having sex with other redheads. I said, no, wait.
No.
You're probably having fun with a fucking other redhead. No.
No, we're trying to like stop this from progressing.
Right. That's
we
another
don't want
joke,
this to continue.
That we're running out. They
Yeah.
say that we're running out of redheads.
That's deliberate.
We might be extinct. And I said, you know why? Because no one's fucking us.
Right.
That's why it's happening.
Oh, okay. We've got some hot tea. Let's fly in
we
the
have
hot tea, baby.
That might have been the chopper.
Is that you? Were you taking the military chopper in?
That was the military chopper that brought in tea. That's how big I am in Vegas. They bring in fucking tea. From
That is huge.
American military chopper. Thank you, Laszlo.
That's Laz. That's your boy Laz that just came in to drop off some
I've
good
known
juice.
Laz for 1,000 years.
So I guess what I was trying to get to was I've always loved Vegas. I've had this weird affinity for Vegas my whole life. And I was so far away. I was Chicago born. So Vegas was this kind of far-fetched thing. I went there for my 21st birthday. And then I've gone since then 1,000 times. I went to school in Arizona, so we would jump over there. And what I found when I was young and wanted to be a stand-up, I was always like, man, this must be one of the hardest places because of the competition, the drugs and the booze. Everyone's late. I'm like, what do you find out of all the elements that make it tough to be a comic is the hardest part?
That's very interesting. Literally, everything you just said, I never thought of that in that way. I swear.
Really? Yeah.
Nope. I was always intimidated when I went to Vegas for the first time. But you said I was probably 14, and I remember I went to see Gallagher, and that was one of my I just loved Gallagher, and I went to see him, and I remember the billboard, the marquee was, 20 stories, and at Caesars was Bill Cosby, and I still have a picture of me standing in front of the Bill Cosby marquee, and it's like 19-story long, and all I remember thinking was like, it's that his name and the structure is bigger than life. It's just like what, and then you go in and see this guy, like it didn't make any sense, and then I ended up being in Vegas with a marquee and you don't even think of it, don't look at it.
Sure.
But when you're a kid, you think, this is bigger than life. This is the most amazing thing. They're not real people. And you go and you see Bill Cosby or I just saw Bill Maher a couple weeks ago. And they're like, you have a show here. I said, oh yeah, I do. Like you
forget about it.
You kind of forget about it. You're like, oh yeah. But you're right about the people drunk late. You're not really, I don't think. I mean, I've done this for a long time now, so people sometimes plan their trips to come see me, probably.
Sure.
But if Carlin used to do a great bit about that, how many people came to see me because they couldn't get into,
something else.
Correct,
yeah.
And
the Beatles on roller skates.
Right. And the Beatles on roller skates. And which I got to tell you a story about that one. So, and people laugh. He says, you're a sideshow. You're not, Vegas is a different, interesting breed. And one thing, the Beatles on roller skates, I was leaving the Luxor one night, and this couple was walking. I was walking out, and they were walking in. They said, oh, my God, we saw your show last night. And they said, it was so great. I was like, good. And they said, we just went and saw Love.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, the Beatles, how was that? They go, it was horrible. And I said, why? And on my life, they said, it was all Beatles music, and it was just like really, really monotonous. Swear to God. Oh my God. You can't write that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's the Beatles. I mean, they were expecting to see like a Led Zeppelin song in the middle of the Beatles.
No Hendrix.
No
they
Hendrix.
Didn't throw in anything.
Not anything. But for some reason, they were just, and I never have forgotten that. Like I think I wrote it down. I said,
But that's the problem. That's what I mean. That Vegas was always daunting to me when I was young. Was the competition scared me because I thought, who gives a shit about seeing me? Of course, I was so much younger in my career, and that's daunting anywhere you go. You're like, why do they want to come see me in Minneapolis? I'm in the mall. What do they care? But
if you're with Tiffany,
different world, different world, baby. But nowadays, like I just played, Bert Kreischer had a tour there. We just did the T-Mobile Arena, and it was great. And you do realize, I think maybe it's a sign of the times that comedy is, I mean, thicker than it's ever been. Thick is the word I want to use for no other reason than like it feels like it's entrenched in community now. People like know it. They see our friends, and people go to see, and we just saw it, and then we just saw. And I think, did you see a dip in your shows and then a rise again recently in the shows? Like, do you feel like it's bubbling more than it's ever been?
I think comedy, like you said, is a good way to put it. I think comedy's been more in the forefront again.
Yeah.
And maybe because of the cultural things that have happened lately in the last couple of years of changing,
Is stuff going on, culture? What's going on out there?
That's what I say.
yeah.
Well, no, I
What's
say
happening?
I do a whole thing in my show. I said, has comedy changed? And I said, in what way? And I said, no, I'm not following you. Certain events or certain topics do you avoid because you might offend? And I'm like, no, our main purpose is not to offend people.
Right.
As a comic, we want to entertain. Now, if you're going to get offended, that's your own deal.
Sure.
But we're not there to do it. Like I did a trans beer fucking Bud Light.
Bud Light, yeah.
Now it's a great prop. It's just a great prop. I do stand up as well, but the prop, it was just, I'm sitting there and I thought, I've got it. So it's a Bud Light beer, one of those metal beer thing, and it's got a Barbie doll and a Ken doll that come out so when you drink it looks like you're, in a crotch. So and it kills.
Yeah.
But then you add to it, I had to buy a Barbie doll and a Ken doll, and the Ken dolls don't have hair on the legs, so I had to get a Sharpie and draw fucking hair thing. So the crowd, it gets deeper and deeper in the crowd. I said, this is what, and I do it for you. I don't need to have hair on his legs.
Right.
I do it for you, and it's just. But people now, they get a little bit like when it first hit that night, they were like, oh my God, you're doing it? I said, fucking day one, I have it. What are you talking about? Day one.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Well, here's the deal though. This is what's funny about people going, oh, that reaction. They're happy that someone's saying it, but I feel like it's because they can't believe public figures are going to talk about it because they go,
because they think you're
something's
going
gonna happen.
You're going to get in trouble. Like,
because, by the way, these people talk about it in the basements with their friends or at dinner parties.
Right.
They
But
talk
not
about it
in
all the
public,
time.
right?
No, but they talk about it with each
because
other.
they've scared you on these shows where they cancel you and do these different things. You know? People are like, oh God, you're like a risk taker. I'm like, no, I'm just.
Doing my job more than anything.
I said I'm doing my job. And I'm in Vegas for fuck's sake. You know.
How do you feel?
Not
Like this is a
Branson, Missouri, where you can't say darn.
Well, no, you can. You
can't say darn.
They'll put you in jail now.
Yeah, you can't say darn. You will go to jail.
You will go to prison. No, but how do you feel as like that's the second military chopper?
Yeah, they're coming.
I swear to God, if the alien thing is real and this is what's happening now, imagine.
Is this the only time it's ever happened?
I've never heard military
In your
choppers
studio?
in my entire life.
Now
Never.
you both got me concerned.
No, I'm actually like weirded out.
I'm a huge celebrity. They know I'm here.
Is that what they sent? Do you think they sent in the military for you?
I'm huge.
Flew them up from San Diego. Get up there, Carrot Top's up there.
I just posted. I was on Southwest, so they might.
Oh,
they might be looking
you
for
did?
me. Yeah.
Why would you do that? Don't post, man. Don't tell them where you are.
I was on the plane with Carol Leifer. Very, very brilliant comic.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So we took a picture, and I said, I got to post it. So
You took a commercial flight here.
Yeah.
You do. Do you commercial fly? Mm-hmm. We were going to take a bet before the show. I was like, I wonder if he's probably
the Carrot jet.
You're probably flying private.
I mean, I've flown private before, but
you don't do it all the time.
No, but I have. I mean,
I'm going to be honest with you. That strikes me as I assumed
that's
you
what
for sure.
Yeah, all of my friends all have jets. Every one of them.
You
That's the only one I don't. Literally every friend I have is. I mean, big name friends, comics from Howie Mandel to.
Well, I wouldn't assume you might own a
and
jet.
Jay Leno was like, yeah. I said, no, I don't own my jet. He's like, well, I just lease it. I said, I know, but you have to have leasing money. This is back when I was doing the Tonight Show all the time, run across the street here.
Yeah.
And he was like, you got your jet. You take your jet back to Vegas? And I said, no, Jay, I don't have a jet. But, I just lease it. Well, I know, but for Jay Leno money, $30 million a year.
Right. Carrot Top's
$28 million a year.
Yeah, Carrot Top's doing pretty good, dude.
Pretty good. I'm doing all
That
right.
$2 million is the difference between getting a jet.
Two different.
Yeah.
Good at math.
I guess
that
that's
one
good.
redhead I met that gets good at math.
Yeah, I had to do it 3 times. That's why.
Yeah.
But I'm serious. You do strike me as someone that for sure would.
Yeah,
fly.
that will be my next big purchase. Or whatever, not purchase, but I'll rent
Investment.
One. Invest in a jet. My friends, of course, that have invested in them.
So are you conservative with the way that? Because okay,
yeah,
look,
I'm completely. This is just me dressed up.
you made all this, right?
I made everything. Yes, that's what Brad Garrett. If Brad Garrett walked in right, he'd say, "Oh, thrift shops are still good for you. How was the convertible ride over? That kind of shit."
But I guess my look. This is gonna. It's not. It's
about
not
the convertible.
It's not. It's not a. It just feels like in my mind, if you're playing Vegas 6 nights a week. In the comedy community, when we talk about you, everyone says the same. They go, that guy's got to have more money than God. Like 6 nights a week in Vegas, you're resident. It feels like to us that is the richest you can be as a comedian.
Yeah,
both rewarding from a performing every single night to your own crowd, your house. It's literally your room. So to us, it's like, well, you got to have everything you've ever needed. Is that true?
It's been a blessing, I will say.
Yeah.
And especially looking back as a young comic, would you ever have thought that you'd be number one in Vegas or doing it almost 40 years? It's surreal. Very lucky, very blessed, and everything you said is true. The room's great to have your own audience built in.
It's you.
Yeah, you can have what you want at your. And what also does probably give me the freedom to work on stuff every day because I'm just there. It's my crowd, my people.
So that's why you said you're not going to retire anytime soon. We talked on the other show.
I don't think so.
Yeah, people that get to a certain age.
I still feel like I'm 12. Like I can't imagine retaring. You know what I mean?
I think
I'm 58. But
I think dressing this way helps you feel.
Does
young.
it help?
Yeah,
really.
This
I
might
just
keep
look
you young.
homeless. I look like they're like the Vegas gift's not going so well.
You come back to LA, you're like, dude, this is great. I fit in. This is perfect.
Yeah. I did. I dressed to say Joe I wouldn't get beat up today.
Well, we said before the reason that I think we feel so young as comics is because we continually try to stay connected to culture, and culture is young.
Yeah,
Naturally, it just is young.
Agreed.
So if you go the other way and you follow the line of your own version of thinking, where it's like, well, I'm 50-something years old and and I should be thinking this way. Well, then you'll naturally kind of get away from yourself. But we're all kids.
I've always thought the same thing. People have asked me, literally last night on my show, meet and greet, this lady was like, how do you stay so, you haven't changed? I said, well, I have. But no, man, look at you. You look so good. I mean, you still got your body and the thing in your body. And I said to her, I said, I'm in a job that number one I love. But you're right. You're like a kid up there. You dance around and jump around. You culturally stay on top of what's going on in the news, the topics, and you're in show business for fuck's sake. You get to have fun every night.
Right. You put on. You
have
put
a
on
drink
the show.
after your show.
Right.
Put on a show. You have music playing. You have people.
You meet and greet every night.
No.
How many nights a week do you meet and greet?
It depends if I have friends that are there. I'll meet them. If there's just sometimes we don't. Sometimes we have a paid meet and greet that we'll meet before the show and say hi to people.
We were doing meet and greets when Bobby Lee and I were on the road, and I was like, it is a job in and of itself. I think people don't even understand. That's a whole nother gig.
Yeah, it is.
When you're
it
meeting
is a whole nother gig.
hundreds and
No,
hundreds,
it's
if not
another gig.
thousands of people.
No, I don't. That's why I do it every night.
That's heavy. That's a heavy, heavy load. But I
only have 3 people that meet me though.
30?
3.
3.
That's different for you.
Yeah, 3's.
You had a couple hundred. I had 3. So
Yeah,
it's pretty quick.
three's great. 3.
I get my honey stick. That's it.
We should do that. 3 would be nice.
Everybody gets 1 honey stick. and
One
you're
honey
in.
stick to go. Do you travel with security?
Well, I make them eat it there. They don't get it to go. I say,
Okay.
Eat this fucking thing right in front of me.
You travel with the guy that holds honey sticks for you, and you go eat it right in front of me.
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, Carrot Top does
You know,
this
Howie
thing.
Mandel did the funniest thing. Howie Mandel did the funniest thing that he told in an interview. He would have a meet and greet, and he really did this. He'd have meet and greet, and they would all be outside in there, and he would hide under the table with like with the table with the cloth over it.
Sure.
And people would walk in, and he'd say hello, and they'd be like, hello, and he would say, this is weird because this is before he was completely crazy with the.
Yeah.
He would make them, each one of them, go under the table and say hi to him under the table.
Oh, boy.
In the fucking thing.
This feels like he's going to get canceled
How
for
great
this.
is that, though?
What happened
And
under the table, Howie?
But isn't that great? And like,
Yeah.
hi, nice to meet you. And good to see you. Where are you from? Good to see you.
It's very private.
Fucking
Yeah, it's very
great.
private.
Fucking love it.
I kissed the first girl in a table in Catholic school underneath
You never
the
kissed a
tablecloth.
girl. Stop it.
Yes, I did.
Here's that
I
one.
kissed so many girls. The guy that gets real defensive. Bro, I kiss so many girls.
not buying it.
You have no idea. I'm a good kisser.
I bet
I
you
be
are.
kissing, dude.
In here, we pour whiskey.
Hey, college football fans, are you ready for week 1? DraftKings Sportsbook is hooking you up with a cannot miss offer to start the season strong. This week, new customers can bet just $5. Just a 5, dude. Just a Lincoln on college football and score $200 in bonus bets instantly. What else do you need to know? That's incredible. Anything can happen in college football. Your team could go from unranked to dynasty mode in just a couple of years. Does it happen? It does. Okay, my old man likes University of Tennessee. They're all over the place. SEC is tough, but I got to tell you, some days they show up and they show out. Change comes fast, kids. The only thing that's a lock is the great offers from DraftKings Sportsbook. If you've ever used DraftKings Sportsbook, you know it's probably the best platform you can use if you want to put some cash down on your favorite team. I don't know who your favorite team is. I went to school in the Pac-12, was the Pac-10. Maybe it'll be the Pac-2 when this is all said and done. Hopefully we'll retain a couple of teams. In the meantime, go ahead, get on DraftKings Sportsbook, put a couple of bucks down, and you get something back. Life is way more fun when you're in on the action. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use the code WHISKEY. You know what it is. New customers can score $200 in bonus bets instantly when they bet just $5 on college football, only on DraftKings Sportsbook with the code WHISKEY. The crown is yours. Hey, you know what I'm wearing right now? What I've been wearing every single day to let my nuts breathe? My bird dogs. These are my dogs. I got them on right now. Got my bird dogs on. I'm wearing the pants because I'm not allowed to wear shorts on my own show because people are like, ew, your legs are gross. I get it. That's how I got my nickname Cheeto from my leg hair because they look like Cheeto dust. Dog. I'm wearing my bird dogs almost every day because it's summertime. And it feels so good to let my nuts hang. And they have this lining that feels so comfortable and breathable. And I don't get all sweaty and stanky. They have moisture wicking in there. I love bird dogs. Honestly, I love them. The shorts are my favorite. I'm wearing the pants, but the shorts are my favorite. They look like khaki shorts or like high-end shorts. You can wear them on the golf course, to the pool hall, to the hall dance hall. You can do whatever you want with them. You can wear them to the gym or you can wear them around the crib. Bird dogs are so comfortable. It's unbelievable. Go check them out. That's Chris DiStefano calling me. He's calling me in the middle of it. He wears bird dogs too. Hey, go to birddogs.com/whiskey. Enter the promo code whiskey for a free tumbler with your order. That's birddogs.com/whiskey. Enter the promo code whiskey for a free tumbler. And I got to tell you, you're going to love these things. Bird dogs are so comfortable and they make my tush look nice. Go get some bird dogs.
Ginger. I like gingers.
I be kissing, dude. No, that was my first in Catholic school at Moody Bible. A girl crawled under a tablecloth and I kissed.
I went to Catholic school too, so we have that.
How long were you in Catholic school? Your whole life as a kid?
I'm still in Catholic school.
You are? Oh my God.
We all
Somebody
are,
likes
really.
to get touched.
Aren't we really all just cursed for help?
If I get out of this, they're going to stop hugging me that much.
Yeah, I was an altar boy. Yeah.
Oh,
St.
no.
Mary's, yes, indeed.
That's
where we
why.
learned about this.
That's exactly right.
True. You think I'm kidding?
That's where this started. You were an altar boy. St. Mary's.
St.
You're a
Mary's.
Florida guy. You're
Yeah,
a Florida kid.
Yeah, St. Mary's, Rockledge, Florida.
Would you ever go back to Florida?
I have a house there, yeah.
But okay, so when is your off season?
There's no off season.
Doesn't exist.
Yeah, no.
So when do you allowed to take a break?
I do a week a month.
A week a month.
Yeah.
And that's
I work a month and then I go to Florida for a week, and a month in Vegas and a week home.
Okay.
Just keeps my sanity. I have a house there on
Because
the water.
they told me you're gonna do like a tour next year, like a full tour, right?
We have done those before, but probably we'll stay with what we're doing now for a bit. I think the Luxor, it's pretty consistent gig, so it's kind of hard to.
It's hard to say no.
Well, yeah, it's hard to go on an actual full blown tour. In fact, your buddy was trying to get me to go out with them, Bert.
Oh yeah, you didn't want to come?
No, I couldn't because of the contractually with the
Right.
Luxor. It was just hard to get out of that so many days. But funny guy.
No, it was super fun. Look, there
I
was
know, and big
ton of
arenas
us.
and things,
It was
baseball
wild.
stadiums, and great.
Yeah, we
They just played Vegas. They
Gorge.
just played
the T-Mobile.
T-Mobile.
We played T-Mobile.
Yeah.
It was
I had some
nuts.
friends that were there.
I did it with them, and we had Lewis Black come as a
Yeah, I
special
love
guest.
Lewis.
Yeah,
Great guy.
phenomenal joke
Fucking
writer.
funny.
Also doing new shit, which was so rad.
I know.
And
He's
timely
a
shit.
guy. Yeah, but he's
Yeah.
the guy that does it. He writes. He's a writer.
It's great to see that.
Yeah.
It's hard to see older guys not doing
Yeah,
it.
no, he's great.
Yeah.
It made me think of earlier when you said I have more money than God. My favorite God one. It was just aired on again. It was old. George Carlin.
Yeah.
But if anyone of your fans didn't see the George Carlin bit where he talks about God, it's
All powerful, all knowing, all
fucking
seeing, all
dude,
being.
right?
And he needs your money.
Yeah, but he goes, but he loves you.
But he loves
And
you.
then he needs money.
And he needs money.
It's so great.
Lots
It's
and lots of
of
money.
money.
Such
He
a
doesn't.
good bit.
He's great, but just not good with numbers.
Right.
Such a brilliant bit.
It's a great bit.
God, that's one of those where you're comic. You're like, see, that's where, I always wanted to be George Carlin. I mean, that's really.
That was your number one.
Yeah, and then Gallagher came. But here's the weird thing. So people ask me, like, I do a thing in my show, like, who influenced you? I said, it's so bizarre. I love Richard Pryor. I love George Carlin. And I love Gallagher. And they're like, well, how does that work? I said, well, it's like a little bit of each thing.
Sure.
Because Gallagher had great stand-up. People
Right.
only remember Gallagher for his props. If you go back and look at Gallagher's specials, he had an hour of stand-up.
Yeah.
That didn't have props.
Yeah.
So I loved not his props. I liked his stand-up. And then I started doing props. But my props were completely different than how he approached prop comedy. He would do like a big couch or do a thing, and he had a few that were like how I write, where there's like an invention kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
he had one that was funny. It was a thing where it goes on the passenger side of the driver with a brake pad, so your passenger could brake too,
right,
or
right.
feel like you were part of. So it was clever. But most of his stand-up was what I thought was amazing. And then Carlin was, God. And then you watch Richard Pryor. So when I started doing the props, I just tried to make it not a pun. Whenever people do an impression of me, they do a pun. And it's not really it's offensive. It's just like they're not getting what I do. Like they would do like, a shoe horn. And it'd be a shoe and a horn. I'm like, never done a pun in my entire career.
Right.
Never.
You're like, if you're going to make fun of me, do it the right way.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. So Family Guy.
Yeah, I was just
They
going to say,
called
there's
me
no
and
way
they
they
said-
haven't taken a shot at you.
Oh, no, I got to be
That
on
guy-
it.
yeah,
They
that
called
guy.
me and they said, we have an episode, you want to be on it. I said, well, of course I want to be on it. Fuck, it's me. You're doing me.
Yeah.
So they sent me the script, and McFarlane, I mean, it was just, if he was in this room, he would say, I remember that. So they sent it to me, and I said, oh, I hate it. And it's weird for me to say, like, I hate something that the Family Guy wrote, right? I said, it's just not funny. For me. My part.
Yeah.
Not the show. My part that they wrote wasn't carrot toppy. So they were like, got me on the phone. What's wrong with it? I said, well, the joke was a seesaw. So the prop is, so you say the word seesaw. I'm guessing there's a saw and a pair of glasses. So it's a saw with glasses on it.
Sure.
And I'm like, fuck, that's like the worst thing in the world. Because that's what most people think of prop comedy is like that. Oh, a seesaw. Look, a handkerchief or a butterfly, a butter and wings on it. Like,
Right.
nah. So he said, it's really funny. And I said, well, I really don't like it. They said, you want to pass on it? I said, well, I'll record it. We did it. And they did it over again in L.A. They brought me back in L.A. and I'm sitting all the writers, and I'm like, this is so bad. Why is this funny? And they said, we just did like a test review. People fucking love it. I said, it's funny because you're making, no, I said, no. People this day still walk up to me and say, hey, seesaw. So I guess it was funny in how they saw it. But
Sure.
I was like, I said, can't we do like, something I do like the paper cups and string phone where it has a third cup for call waiting, something more clever.
Yes.
And they're like, but that wouldn't play.
So you're saying they were taking a shot at you. It was a bummer because you're like, if you're going to
But they thought it was funny. They thought that's what I do. They're like, no, I thought that was a good one.
But then you said it's not, and you're like, you're
I
kind
said,
of
can I do one of
mocking me.
mine? They said, well, give me an example. So I gave them one. They said, but that's not going to get a punch because it's too clever. It's too funny. To make fun of me, it's got to be dumb.
Right. If
So
they're going to
we're-
make fun of you, it's got to be
It's got to be the lowest
on the
common
nose.
denominator.
Yes. Because if they do a real bit from your show, it's not going to mock you the right way.
Right, because then I look smart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They can't have you look smart.
No.
You out of your mind?
You know what I mean? Because
Well-
there's a smart aspect.
Well,
to the
how do you
show.
feel about that when people like that are like trying to look? They're not taking a shot at you, but they are.
Right.
And what you don't? How do you feel about that? Like, is that what's that initial reaction when you're like, they're showing me love, but it can't be the first time that someone's.
Oh, fuck, my whole career, I'm like the punching bag.
So what is it? How does it make you really feel? Truly.
Well, you make me cry. No, I truly, like at first I would be, when I was younger, I would take it more to heart. We'd do like a big arena gig.
Yeah.
I'd be on the bus with my crew. Killed it. Like on Rock Stars. And watching Jimmy Fallon or whatever show was on, Tonight Show. And they'd do a Carrot Top joke. And I'm like, fuck. And everyone was like, oh my God. But it was like funny because it was like, that's cool. I'm relevant. They're talking about me.
Yeah.
But they were saying it in a negative, there's always a negative tone to it where they were like, I'm still the dumb guy. But then like someone like, I'm trying to think of someone like Gary Shandling would say to me, dude, you're the one you're the successful one. So why are you taking it to heart? I said, oh, I'm not. He says, yeah, you are. So the more successful people that would tell me that they're only doing it because you're getting under their skin a little bit.
Well, you're famous.
Successful.
Yeah, they're gonna get you when you
I'm
get
not
famous.
famous. I'm recognizable in a lineup. This is what I am.
You're very, very, very famous. Because you're so famous in comedy, you do know that comes with the territory, right? It's
Right,
like,
sure.
It's such a natural.
They like to say carrots. They like to put. That's a good punch. There was a guy that wrote for People magazine, or as one of those big shows, newspapers or something. And he said, "Why do you continually?" He said, well, "How do you find your?" He says, "Well, if I'm really in a hole and I need a punchline, I just put in Carrot Top."
Really?
And I wrote the guy. I was like, he goes, "Dude, you've been my lifesaver." And like literally, because he just needed a punch, like just throwing Carrot Top and it gets a laugh. They do it on all these shows. Like Fallon just did the other night. They did a whole thing on.
But that speaks volumes to the
he
lack
says,
of writing.
Should Carrot Top's hair not be green? And everybody, laughs, and then they do a poll and they do it, and 85% said yes.
Right.
Stupid shit. But it's still good. You're relevant, and they're talking about you. And I know Jimmy Fallon; he's a good guy. So.
Well, I think to me, what it means from a philosophical level is like, at some point, it's just because they know you're a good guy, and they're like, well, he'll.
Yeah,
It doesn't
I hope
matter.
that they know that at the end of the day. Like I've met some people that, when I first started getting unbothered by people making fun of me, is because I'd have people like Jay Leno, Bill Maher, Gary Shandling, George Carlin say funny shit, man. So you're like, oh, that's cool. Like George Carlin loved me.
Right.
And then I got a guy in Nebraska on the internet saying that I'm like a piece of shit hack.
Cool
And I'm like,
props.
I'm like, hack. I've been doing this 40 years. You're not a hack at 40 years.
Yeah.
You might be a hack in the first couple of years, but
See,
you can't go 40 years and be a hack.
I don't believe
They'll catch you.
I actually don't believe in that word. We've talked about that.
Hack. Well, it's kind of an old.
I think the word is very hack. I think it's the idea to be like that joke or that concept or that thing is hack is in and of itself bullshit because anything can be boiled down to being a hack. Literally everything. You can give me the most clever joke. I'll go, yeah, but conceptually it's bullshit.
Yeah, right.
It's a simple thing that someone else has peeled before.
Sure.
Yeah,
Right.
we invented the wheel once.
Sure.
Right? Like we've made different wheels, but there is no such thing as being like the most original. Like Chappelle's last special, well, not the last one, but a couple ago, he talks all about like Cosby and Michael Jackson, and you're like, these aren't current topics.
Right.
If a younger guy did it, you'd be like, oh, what are you talking about, Michael Jackson?
Right.
But it's not. It's the presentation.
Half my show's about Michael Jackson.
Yes. But that's my point. Is the presentation is what matters. There is no such thing.
No, and I'll give you
I don't
another,
buy it.
I'll give you another. I don't either. I'll give you another example of like kind of a comic that came into me. We were friends from day one. Like started the same club, maybe the same year. Was Larry the Cable Guy, Dan Whitney.
Right.
So one day, I'm already doing arenas and doing all this shit, and he just started getting a little heat with his his Get Her Done on his act. And I always said, it's brilliant because I remember when you were just Dan Whitney and all of a sudden you're this character and it's like huge, right? It's like he was selling out arenas.
Oh, yeah.
And he called me one day and said, dude, I got the new Carrot Top. I'm the new Carrot Top. Getting shit on.
Oh, he inherited getting shit on.
The shit Carrot. I said, perfect. Thank God you can have the baton.
Yeah.
And he said, it's so cruel. I said, yeah, but enjoy it. He says, yeah, but people are saying the meanest. I said, because you're successful. And he made that character.
Yeah.
Whether it's fucking, people think it's another version of Hee Haw, whatever the fuck it is.
Sure.
He made Larry the Cable Guy and made that character and fucking sold it.
Yeah.
Same with, I came with a stupid Carrot Top, came with the brand. And if it wasn't, still, it wouldn't be doing it 40 years. So people dig it. I have fans that
People come.
and people that don't like me don't come.
That's right.
They don't. They're
That's
like,
it.
why would you go see Carrot Top? I wouldn't personally, but you know what I mean. Like if you don't want to come, don't go.
Yeah, that's that easy.
Like I don't care.
Just don't go.
At some point, you just stop caring about it. Like I have my fans, and you have fans. There's people that hate the Rolling Stones. I have friends that hate the Grateful Dead, hate the Rolling Stones, hate certain bands.
Well, give me a huge band that you don't like.
Well, I see. I like every kind of music. I love band. I can't think of one band that I wouldn't go sit through.
That's easy for me.
Really? What's one?
REM.
REM.
I can't stand.
My mom would call them REM Speedwagon. I said, no, it's different.
See, that was a pun that Family Guy would write.
REM.
No,
well,
but
you know what I'll say that's
Yeah.
very true. And lemonade and hurricanes and holiday and lemonade. Like, what the fuck? You might lose me a little bit. I met him one time.
I'm sure there's.
Michael Stipe.
I just there's bands that are so big I never understood why, but that's the same
I guess
sentiment that I'm
REM
saying.
would not be my first one. I would.
That's my number one.
Yeah.
I don't know
No,
why.
that's funny though.
You know
That's
how much
good.
I didn't like them? I went to go to a Hollywood Bowl show to watch their opening band. My wife and I, we paid just to watch the opening band, and the sun was still cresting, so it was still hot. It wasn't hidden behind the hills yet. Like people were still getting beer, and we left the moment that the opening band got off stage. It was a great band called The National. I don't know if you know.
National. Okay, I was going to ask you what the name of the band was.
The National, and then the next year they opened the bowl. They headlined the bowl themselves, so it was just like It was cool to watch the progression of like they opened for them.
That's great.
But my wife was like, "We got to get out of here," because
That's
both
so
of us are
funny.
like, "We
That's
don't
so
like." Yeah, but my point is, someone's
Anybody
not gonna
that's
like
watching, but if Michael Stipe is watching, this is all just.
Can you imagine?
just kidding.
Sipping a cup of
He
coffee.
might be going, oh.
In some dungeon somewhere. He's
I met him
definitely
one
living
time.
underground.
I gave him a Superman necklace.
Michael
'Cause the
Stipe?
song, because the song out, I am Superman.
Yeah.
I am
Can
what's
do
happening.
anything. Yeah.
And so I gave him a Superman necklace that I had two of them. I gave him an extra one. And he
still has it today.
yeah.
Michael's listening to
I
this.
think he literally
He's
just
rubbing
turned
it right now.
Turned over to give it to one of his assistants.
What are the gifts that you get from fans? You must get some
Anything
fun
with
shit.
a carrot, fucking carrot cakes and fucking carrots. and-
Really?
yes. Anything
Let's-
orange.
You don't want any of this stuff.
Any rainbow dildos, anything. People love to give me
Funny bit.
because I have a couple of dildo jokes. So people give me fucking dildos all the time. I said, I've got enough dildos.
Well, you heard it
literally,
here.
You go backstage,
Keep bringing
when
Carrot
you go
Top dildos.
backstage, it's seriously, there's like so many dildos. We have them hanging out. I say, what? Why? I said, people give me these.
Is it an HR problem?
I don't know.
Is this
you know,
becoming?
I don't know.
All right. So what gifts? What's the best?
People give. By the way, I have fans that are fucking awesome though.
What's the best
They
gift you've
do
ever
give me
gotten?
the best gifts. Well, they give me a lot of Crown bottles. People give me because I drink Crown.
Yeah.
So they custom Crown bottles, and I mean to the nth degree custom.
You
They'll
love
spend
Crown
thousands
Royal,
of
huh?
dollars on this.
That's your sauce.
Yeah.
Why Crown?
I don't know. I started drinking it when I was like 6. No, no. I started drinking it, and I just liked it. And then I did a joke in the show where I'd give out shots of Crown to the front row, and then Crown got wind of it, and they gave me a sponsorship, and then so it just became a friendly.
A wonderful exchange.
Yeah, and I like Crown. so
Have
it
you made
worked
your
out
own
well.
sauce with them? Do they have a?
Yeah, we should do a carrot.
They should do a batch.
carrot juice.
How come they don't have a batch?
Yeah, we'll have a carrot batch.
Well, to the men and women over at Crown
Do you
Royal.
remember your first drink? What age you were when you first drink?
Yeah, I was 15 years old. We stole a bottle of. Oh man,
Hey, 14 is okay.
Captain Morgan. We stole a bottle
You
of
shouldn't
Captain
remember. It
Morgan.
was 14. You were drunk. What did I?
Well,
what
my
did
buddy
I
Matt
steal?
got all sick, but we drank it on the side of the hill by his house, behind like his garage, and got just wrecked off our heads. That was the first time I got really smoked.
Mine was my. This is weird. Now my dad worked at the Space Center, NASA.
A genius.
Literally, like a rocket scientist. Like he trained astronauts, and he invented the clip that puts the shuttle on top of the 747. Like weird shit. And as a young kid, I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't care. Like, you know, I want to watch the Brady. I want to watch Gilligan's Island. I don't want to go to this fucking launch. So we go to this launch, and it's like 100 degrees out, and there's like these, you know, tents or whatever for concessions.
Yeah.
So there's a beer concession and a hot dog and a Coke one and whatever. And it's Florida, so there's firework ones, you know. So my dad's like, what do you want? And I was like, I don't know, just a hot dog and a Coke. And my dad looked at the line for the hot dog Coke tent was like 50 deep, and the one for the beer line was like 2 people. So my dad's like, you're gonna drink a beer. And I was like, what's that? He said, you're gonna drink a beer. I'm not waiting in that fucking line. So my dad gets me a beer. I'm not like 13. And I'm like, I remember taking a sip, man. He looked at me, says, don't tell your mother that. I said, oh, I won't. He's like, how is it? I'm like, it's not good. And I remember sitting there like, it was like, there was 3 launches. You know, it's like 3 rockets going up. My dad's like, oh, it's a launch. I'm like, there's 3 rockets? And Dad's like, fuck, you're drunk. I was drunk, and I got home. My dad's like, Mom said, how was the launch? I'm like, and I got drunk. My dad got me, what the? Yeah.
Dad got me
My dad's
tanked.
like, I just told you not to tell your mother. Well, that's the first thing you do when you tell her not
I'm
to do
13.
something.
I'm
Don't
snitch
say-
worthy.
Yeah.
I'm snitch age.
Yeah, I'm a whistleblower.
Yeah, yeah.
I love those words. We have a
Whistleblowing.
whistleblower. They're a snitch.
You're snitching. You're snitching on your own father.
Yeah.
In here, we pour whiskey.
Hey, I'm here to tell you once again about Rabbit Hole and their one-of-a-kind bourbon and rye whiskeys. I love this sauce. Look at how I grip it, by the way. If you got a man hand, you grip this thing nice and good. You could throw it across the room to one of your buddies. Kaveh Zamani and Rabbit Hole's founder and whiskey maker gave up a 25-plus year career as a clinical psychologist to pursue his lifelong passion to craft the world's finest spirits, and that he did. Instead of buying aged whiskey, he went all in, learning from the best to develop his own recipes. No shortcuts, no compromise. Last year, he was inducted in the Kentucky Bourbon Hall of Fame's 20th anniversary class. Pretty legendary, my friend. Rabbit Hole's mission is to transform the ordinary into the extraordinary. And their whiskeys prove it. Original mass bill recipe, signature malts and grains, aged in hand-selected, charred, and toasted barrels. Award-winning small batch whiskey made with passion and love. If you're looking for a whiskey with a new perspective, I got to tell you, skip that ordinary and sip the extraordinary. They got 4 distinct whiskey expressions. Today, I've been drinking Boxer Grail. I like the rye. I told you before, I'm not really a rye guy, but sometimes this really catches my tongue in the right afternoon when the mood is right. But I do love Boxer Grail. This is, like I said, this is their rye, their award-winning sour mash rye. They also have Cave Hill, High Gold, and Derringer, and that one's their award-winning bourbon finish in PX Sherry Cask, Pedro Jimenez Sherry Cask, nonetheless. Go grab some. Honestly, they're sold everywhere. You got to get some Rabbit Hole. You're going to love it, okay? Go to rabbitholedistillery.com/drizzly. Use that promo code RABBIT for $5 off your first order. Or go to rabbitholedistillery.com, and you can see where it's being sold in your area. Please enjoy it, drink responsibly, jump down the rabbit hole with me.
Ginger. I like gingers.
Is your pops alive?
He just passed in about 4 years.
sorry.
Yeah, he was a interesting one about comedy. He was not. I do a whole thing in the story about it in the show, but it's like, you know, tell your dad that works at NASA you're going to be a comic. He was like, I don't understand. It was like me saying to you, I'm going to be a rocket scientist. It was the same thing.
Right.
He didn't understand. We didn't understand each other. But when I became, you know, Carrot Top and it all worked out, he was like, he would be #1 fan.
What was the first moment that your father was like, oh, wow, oh, shit?
He came to a show where he was like, Jesus Christ, like,
Yeah.
you're not funny. Like, you were really, I had like, it was like a big show in Melbourne. It was like 3,000 seat theater, a really fancy theater in Melbourne, Florida. It was like packed. It was the King Center, you know, and it was sold out. And, you know, my dad came back. He's like, he didn't have a word. He didn't know what to say. He's like, I've never seen you. Like, who are you?
Right.
I said, I'm Batman. No, he said, I'd never seen you. It was just like,
Well,
because I was just a quiet kid. Now you never see me starting out in comedy. He never would come down.
How
and
could
see
they
me.
though, right? They don't
But
see
he
the
wouldn't
work.
even come see me when I was in clubs. He didn't. And all of a sudden I hit kind of big, and then I saw you in the Tonight Show. You know, wow.
Yeah, and it really resonates.
Yeah, like
well,
you're on
who
the
are we
Tonight
to
Show.
our
with-
parents? That's a big thing. Who are we to our parents? It is weird. It does feel, you know. And I played the Chicago Theater for the first time in Chicago's my home. My dad was like, they're all seeing you?
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, I hate you. You know what I mean? No, not like that. But he was like,
No, right, no.
But he was like, why the fuck would they pay to?
Why would they? I don't
They're
understand.
gonna see you be an asshole on stage for an hour, and you're like, yeah, and my asshole friends. And I think it's hard because who we are to them is so different than. It's like anything. Your sister, your brother, you know, the way you see them. My little sister is 32. In my mind, she's 12.
Right, sure.
She'll never grow up to me. So it's the same with my
Agreed,
parents.
agreed.
I feel the same way with my parents.
Yeah.
Until you start buying them shit, and then they're
Right,
like, "Well,
that's
you're
it.
a grown up.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
bought-
here's a
yeah.
car. You're gonna be
Yeah,
nicer
yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah,
You're gonna be a little bit nicer to me now. I bought mom a fucking car."
Yeah, it's good.
But it is. There are those moments I think where even they go, "Oh wow, I guess being a rocket scientist is my thing, and this is I got to be his thing."
That's what's weird about we have a lot. So my dad worked at NASA, rocket scientist. My brother went to the Air Force Academy. He became an F-16 fighter jet
Holy
pilot.
shit.
I swear to God.
That's rad.
And that's the whole thing of my show is I show my dad, I call him Pop Top, and then my brother Garrett, I call him Garrett Top, and then there's a picture of me in like some AT&T commercial where I was a fucking retard, and I said, and then there's me, you know, it says I'm the black sheep, but the song comes on, and I'm like, I know, I said, my whole adopted life, literally, I tried to be a comedian, and my brother, you know, how do you follow that?
Yeah.
My brother's in the Air Force Academy in an F-16, and I'm strapping a dildo onto a walker. Hey, look, it's Tommy Lee's walker, you know. So,
Are you the only redhead?
well, it's just another thing when I was a kid. See,
Yeah.
so we didn't have any redheads in the family. But my mom had blonde hair, like bleached blonde hair. My dad, brown hair. Brother, blonde hair. So I'd go to school, and they'd say, "Who has the red hair in the family at home?" And I'd say, "We have an Irish setter," and that was like my first joke, probably. Really,
Right.
my first joke.
Yeah.
And it would get a laugh like, well, you know, our dog has red hair, me and my dog. And my mom was like, well, what? I said, well, then my mom would pick me up at school, and she has this blonde hair,
Yeah.
and they wouldn't let her drive me home from school because that's not my mom.
Who's this woman abducting this boy?
Right. So my mom was like, no, I bleach my hair. And then so I go back and said to my mom, she bleaches her hair. Well, don't tell them I bleach my hair. Well, now, you know, I can't win. So, yeah, it was weird.
Speaking of, you have a lot of colors in your hair.
I do.
The orange.
They start turning gray, and I just said, fuck it, I'm going to make it
Right.
rainbow.
That's the transition. Either redheads will it'll go gray and they'll
Well,
dye
I
it.
still have some pretty good red left.
There's
but
some red up there.
Yeah, there's some red. It's all mine.
And
too,
it's
so
dready,
thank
too.
God.
It's
It's
real
all
dready.
dready. I know. Again,
What
I'm not
influenced
making
you
as
to
much
dreads?
money as you think I am.
What?
at the
Yeah,
look,
I was
so.
just gonna say.
It
what-
dreads itself. I don't dread it.
You never dread it. You let
No.
it dread.
Yeah, but I get it combed out every couple months, so it needs to be combed out.
Did you always
I
want
just
to?
wanted to do this show, and then I'll get it combed out.
Yeah, you will. That's why you come to LA to get your hair done,
Yeah.
like a fancy boy.
No, I don't actually.
Did you ever
I go to a
want
guy in a
to?
van. I go to Dr. Kevorkian in the parking lot of a van, and he combs it out.
Is this what you've always wanted though? Did you like
Hair? Yes,
No,
to
no.
have hair.
Like you wanted it to be kind of. This was
No,
always
I
your
mean, I always
look?
had crazy hair, but
Yeah.
now it's gotten like. I walked in. He said, "Oh, you got a little Johnny Depp going on."
Yeah, he
And I
said.
get
What did he
that-
say? Captain Jack Sparrow.
Yeah, so I get that a lot, like a lot, because I had I drew this little stupid.
Little mustache.
Yeah, I don't know why it was.
You do know why.
No,
You
I,
like it.
You know, well, no, I didn't at first. I grew it because I was. I had to do something. I had to grow it, and then I grew it. And I said, "Oh, was it COVID maybe?" I said, "Oh, I kind of liked it." And then I grew the whole. I didn't know I could grow hair in my whole face.
You shaved your whole life.
Everything.
Yeah.
As a swimmer, I still shave my whole body.
You still shave your whole
My
body.
whole body.
Head to
Yeah.
toe.
I have people shave my whole body. I
Right.
Don't do it.
How many people? One or two? There's a
It's
human.
it's like a team of people.
Right. A bunch of elderly women come over and
Yeah,
shave your body.
No, younger.
You ought to clean up.
Yeah. So
Do you still swim?
yeah, but not competitively, but I still shave.
But you know what I mean. Like you still get
I
in the.
still- yeah.
You swim laps?
Yeah.
My
Once in a
grandpa
while.
did till he
Once in a
died,
while.
and he was always like, "Swimming is the best. Swimming
is
is the
good for
best."
you. It is good
It
for
is. He died of lung cancer. What does he know about fucking health? You know what I mean?
But the hair was always like, yeah, right.
Yeah.
The hair thing was always like part of my, in a sense, brand because I drew a logo with this crazy hair and
Yeah.
and then when I'm bored, I do whatever I want. My management, of course, gets mad like you can't have purple and green and blue.
Why?
Well, because it's my brand. I'm like, wait, go back because it's my brand. It's my brand. It's not-
Yeah.
So they hate it.
They would still want
They
red-
hate it.
red
They get
dominant.
to be red hair. You're Carrot Top. So I was in the show about 2 weeks ago, and I went into the crowd to do my little touch the people. And this lady's like, I like your old wig better.
Your old wig.
Yeah. And I just got a big laugh. So I said, my old wig better. I said, this isn't a wig. She goes, no, I like your old wig. I said, this is not a wig though either. So she's pulling it. No, the old one. I said, you like my old hair better. It's not a wig though. You like my old hair better.
She's like, sure, whatever you want to call your wig.
Yeah. She's like when it was just red. I don't like all this.
Do you get a lot of that? Like older women that are like,
No, some people like it. Some people
Yeah.
some people are like, why is your hair all not? I have a 4-year-old goddaughter. She's like, your hair is weird. And I said, you're weird.
yeah. You know, you can't even earn money and buy stuff. Shut up,
Right.
tiny person.
Right.
These
Exactly.
tiny people judging
Right.
us.
When you start paying your taxes.
Yeah.
Wait,
Ju-
when I start paying my taxes. No.
What are you gonna do? Yeah. No, you're lucky. You're in Nevada, right? You guys get to save some of that money.
A little bit.
That's
but
got to
we'll
be
see.
kind of
I live
nice.
in Florida too, huh? 2 states.
I was just gonna say you're evading the government.
I'm no
Like,
dummy.
Go buy a house in Texas too,
Right.
and
Yeah.
Tennessee.
Yeah.
I'm over here getting murdered, and I love it, dude. California drained me. Just rip me off. I'm gonna die broke and sad like every other actor and comedian
But
before
you'll have
me.
all your hair.
That's right. Well, some of it we'll see until it all falls out. You know, when you go back, like on
I thought you were gonna say when you go when you're dead.
when you're dead,
where do you
yeah,
go? When
where
go?
do you want to die?
No.
No, when you go back to Vegas,
Yeah.
does it make you happy the moment you fly back in, like, or do you get anxiety that you're back doing the grind?
No, I usually am when I go. I mean, if I
After that week break,
oh,
that solace
after a week break, I'm actually ready to go back to. I always say it's trying to be a rock star again. I kind of enjoy. Like I go home to Florida and sit in my boat and my Speedo, and after about a week of that, it's
Yeah.
like, you know what?
I'm done.
Yeah, I mean it's fun. I'm relaxed, and now I want to write jokes. I want to do all the jokes that I've been thinking I want to do for a week.
Right.
I want to get back on stage. I like being on stage. I love being
That's where you're the
in
most
show
you.
business. I love being. I always say, we're rock. We're not. I'm not a rock star, but I would say it's time to be a rock star again and get up there and put on
the show.
Yeah, and just get dressed for the show. I like putting on the music, and I'm putting on my nice stuff. I have like a
Right.
certain carrot top kind of thing I wear, and it's kind of
Well, I have to ask when you do think of an idea of an invention, because that's the best way to say it. Who's going to get all that shit? You got a crew of people.
I usually have to do it myself because I know if I know specifically what I want to build, they'll get the wrong stuff. Like I usually go like I'm just gonna go pick it out. I can pick it out way quicker than anyone else.
So I'm going to see you in Target going to pick.
Oh
up
yeah,
stuff.
people see me all the time. There's a joke on my show where I was ringing up something, and it's something I forget the joke now. It's not in my show now, but it used to be. I was like, dude, and she looked at me. She says, "That it was great. Actually, it's a really good prop. It's a mouse trap with a little mini mirror ball on it, like
A mirror. Oh, right.
attached to it. So
Yeah.
it's a mirror ball on a little mouse trap. So it's a mouse trap to catch gay mice. So like Lady Gaga, it kills. I mean, it really, honestly, I did it on like every TV show I think I possibly could do it. I did
Yeah.
it on back in. So I said, it's a gauge, and I think that was the one Gary Shanley was like, God damn, that's funny. Like, what the fuck? How do you come up with this shit? And I said, well, the funny part is I buy it. So I'm at the Target, and she's like, dude. She's like, I said, what? She's like, is this going to be one of your jokes in your show? And I said, yeah. What's it going to be? I said, it's going to be a gay rat trap. And she's like, I said, it's going to kill, lady. And it kills. But yeah, it is fun seeing people's reactions. and
As you're
things.
making it?
Yeah, or I used to on the road, we'd see like garage sales and whatnot. And I'd be like, oh God, stop the bus. Like anytime you see a yard sale, you gotta stop.
Go find new shit.
Oh, dude, I could get 10 minutes. So Dan and Tosh and I did a whole bit one time where I wrote like 10 minutes
At a
yard
garage,
sale.
yeah.
And I literally I said, look at this. And I just came up with like 10 minutes of shit, One
Just from one garage
One was a
sale.
plate. Well, they had all these plates for sale, and they had a little mini toilet. And he was like, what are you going to come up with? I said, I don't know. Give me a second. Can't rush this. I said, it's a plate for bulimics. So I put the plate and the toilet together so you could eat and throw up and eat and throw up. I remember doing that on so many shows. Then one time we did it one show, and they're like, Jesus Christ, you can't do that. No, but we could, though. I was like, the Tonight Show was right down the street.
Yeah.
I would do all these jokes back in the day. That's weird about comedy. Like, if I go back and look at my entire career, there's thousands of things that I've done that now would be doomed. Or it would just be deemed like what?
It's just a sign of the times.
But I go back and I still do a thing in the show sometimes. I haven't done it in a while. Usually road shows. I'll say we're going to go back and do Carrot Classics and I do this whole back in time thing, and I pull out all this old shit that I did that a lot of fans, no one's going to remember. It's 30 years ago, but they're still relevant, like the plate for bulimics or the gay mousetrap or the skinny jeans for fat guys or whatever the fuck it is. People are like, they howl because it's like it's still relevant. It was like, this is 30 years old. You know?
Do you still?
Here's a Bill Clinton podium where the head came up on a foot pedal. It was brilliant. It's good.
Do you ever want to lay it down? Like, do you ever want to lay down the hits and do a special of just all the old stuff?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I should.
Why
that
not?
That would be funny actually
Yeah.
to do. In fact, that'd be a good approach to do it.
I want 10%.
To do kind of a throwback
I think that's the move.
and do it even shoot it in black and white.
Well, because Seinfeld did it, right? Seinfeld did all my old. He did like all his old stuff. Like, what was the name of that special that he did? I'm telling you one more time.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and he did kind of like his
Brilliant.
hits.
I love him.
And then I think that's like
I just saw
For you,
him
why
not
not?
long ago. And he just made me laugh so good.
Seinfeld?
Yeah, he's just so. He's such a. He's just.
He's a comic.
He's a comic. He walks out in the first 20 minutes. I'm like, I can't breathe.
Yeah.
And I'm a comic.
Yeah. He said something to
Why
somebody.
are we here? Well, we try to get here. We get here, and we try to get, and then we follow. We want to get out of here.
Can you imagine if he was given the wrong address to this location? My God, I'd never hear the end of that. Somebody told me, and I can't remember. Well, no, I do. Somebody had said they had a conversation.
Seinfeld
with
has
him.
better people, by the way, than me. That's why.
That's for sure.
That's why I rubbed it.
So do
wrong.
I.
So I have the wrong address.
A friend said, when people say, "When do you want to die?" Like, when do you want to die? And like, there's an idea when somebody says, "I want to live to be 100." It's like, oh God, it's like you think you deserve to live to be 100 or whatever. And Seinfeld was in a conversation with someone I know and had said something to the effect of, "Look, I look at life as like as terms or cycles, right?" And he's like, "I really like this cycle. I'd like this one to last a long time.
Yeah.
We've all gone through different cycles and terms or different like versions of the ride." And he's like, "This one's pretty
Well,
fucking
he's
good."
had a good run.
Yeah. Well, what he's saying is like, I'm sure there's moments where he felt that it was down and not, like not humming the way he wanted it, and then he comes back up, and then he kind of
Well,
disappears.
yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Well, that show became a hit. It was a failure.
Yeah.
So, no, the Seinfeld
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
They didn't want to remember the he'll
Yeah.
tell you more than I would. They didn't want to do it. They turned it down.
But he was like, I think I want this cycle to last quite a while. So that is the idea of like, when you say you don't want to retire, it's the same idea. You're like, why? I'm
I was
humming.
gonna say I have a piece of it's a napkin and this is very similar to kind of what Seinfeld is probably saying. I think you can help
Yeah.
me analogy this. Analogy. I was in an airport bar or whatever you call those things.
Airport bar, probably.
Not a bar. It was like a lounge.
Lounge.
Centurion Lounge.
Oh,
or
you
whatever.
were in one of the fancy
Yeah,
lounges.
fans are
Yeah.
They don't allow people to just look.
Oh, the first
They
class.
don't. They always carrots up. You're okay.
Yeah. Come on in.
Yeah.
You don't have- what do you mean you don't
normally
have a ticket?
We don't normally let people
Come on in.
in like you.
Could you stay in the back away from the people?
Near a comb. So I see Buddy Hackett, and I'm like, holy fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Buddy Hackett. Like, I got to say hello to this guy. And that's how it started. Someone said, all the comedians are here. So I said, who else is here? And they said, Buddy Hackett, and I was like, fuck. So I walked over and I said,
Sorry.
I said, no, it's fine. That's Buddy Hackett calling.
Is that Buddy calling me?
It's
Go ahead.
Buddy's people.
Yeah.
So I just walked over and I said, Buddy, I don't want to bother you. And he says, well, they always say, he said something like
You already did.
yeah. He
Yeah.
said, well, it's too late.
Right.
They always have this good, Don
zingers.
Rickles. Sorry to bother you, Don. Well, it's too late, huh?
Yeah.
So I walked over to him and I just said, my God, I'm a comic. I just want to say hi. He says, oh, you're a comic. And his assistant is Carrot Top. He says, oh, yeah. How long you been in He says, I'm going to give, and he was literally just, I'm going to give you some advice. And I was thinking, okay, give me a napkin. We get a napkin. And he wrote down, gave it to me. He said, good luck. And I thought maybe he's fucking with me, but I think he was being honest. So the thing, I have it framed because it says Buddy Hackett on it. He said, the key to the treasure is the treasure. And I've had it for 30 years. And I tell people that and they go, was he drunk? I said, no, I don't think he was drunk. I think what he meant by that, what Seinfeld said, the key to the treasure, what's now, the key to what you have is now. Like the key to the treasure is this.
Yeah.
And that was cool. Like the key to life is life. Like enjoy it.
Enjoy it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The key to the
when it's
treasure
over,
is
it's
the
over.
treasure. You're always searching for the treasure, and you have it. You're in the treasure.
Right. Stop.
So-
You're right. Stop looking for it. You
Yeah,
got it.
you're the key to this whole thing is the treasure.
What do you say to people that are hunting for gold or buried treasure? That's tough.
Yeah.
Buddy Hackett didn't think about that.
No.
Guys that are looking for gold right now, that's a tough.
But that was a good a good.
It is a nice deep cut from Buddy Hackett.
Yeah.
Although it would be very fun if we found out he was just senile, didn't really know what he was
No,
writing.
yeah, true. Probably was.
Yeah, no. I think that's
No,
a
I think he was
meaningful
very
quote.
sincere, and I think he was very, very. It was a pretty cool quote. The other, there's too many with people, but Carlin, I was very lucky as a comic to get to know him towards at the end of when he was playing at the MGM, the same room I played, and I was there a night early, so I stayed backstage and watched his set, and it was one of those, I don't know, he was just not having a good time. He was not happy.
He wasn't enjoying the set?
I don't think so. He seemed just... Now, this is Carlin towards the end. He was just a little angry, but he seemed even a little bit more angry, right? And I was watching it, and the crowd just... I don't know. And I remember he said something to the... It was that night he kind of said, I said, like, you know what? I'm going to come to your job and stare at you for a fucking hour or something that he wouldn't normally say because he's always just on it. So I'm like, ugh. So he gets done. And he said something too like, let's never meet like this again, and walked off.
Yeah.
And I think I stole that one night. I said, let's never meet like this again, at least in this same seating. If we all in the same, let's move around. But... And he walked off, and he came up to, and I was like, I didn't want to get out of the way because I don't think he wanted to see anybody, especially me. Yeah. And he came off, and his assistant, Carrot Top's here. And he looks over in the dark, and he says, "How much? You see my set?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "How much you see?" I said, "No, what part you see?" I said, "The good part. The whole part was good part or something." He says, "The good part? So you didn't see any of it?" And I said, "No, it was great." He goes, "No, it wasn't." I said, "It wasn't good?" He says, "When do you start here?" I said, "Tomorrow." "How many shows do you do?" I said, "I do one every night, and I do 2 on Saturday." And he goes, "Why do you do 2 on Saturday?" And I just said it like in a funny way. I said, I said, "My manager has a car payment." And he kind of laughed, and he goes, "No, why the fuck do you do 2 shows on Saturday?" I said, "Well, I don't know. If I fuck up one, I get a second shot at the next one." And he looked at me. He took a step, and he looked back at me, and he says, "Never, ever fucking say that again." And I said, "What?" And he said, "Never, ever give the audience the upper hand on what you fucking do. Ever. You do your shit. You do it how you do it. If they don't fucking get it, or they're too fucking stupid, fuck them. You do you." And I said, "Okay, Mr. Carlin." He said, "Did you follow that?" I said, "Yeah." And he walked to his dressing room, and I looked at his manager, and I said, "Well, that went well." And he said, "Oh, that went great. He's gonna want to hang out with you."
Yeah.
I said, "I'm gonna go." No. He's gonna want. 5 seconds later, Carrot Top. And he brought me in his room, and we hung out for 30 minutes, and we didn't talk about comedy. We just talked about life, like.
What do you talk to Carlin about?
Well, he talked about. He did talk about like my props. He talked about how I write, or do I have writers, or.
Do you have
do
someone
I
write
get
with
tired
you?
on the road, or how do I keep my strength? He says, "You look good, you know." But we didn't talk really much about that night.
Sure.
We talked a little bit about comedy, but he loved my act. Like he knew it. Like unless they briefed him, because I didn't tell him I was coming. He's the fucking asthma inhaler for New Year's Eve. That's fucking great. It was an asthma thing with a party favor on it, so you go, so you could still blow your favorite, but have He liked the clever parts. He's like,
Sure.
"That's fucking good. It's really good. I like the paper cups and string shit with the call waiting. It's fucking clever." I was like, "Oh fuck, that's cool."
That is very cool.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm coming from Carlin.
Yes.
Says, the guy in Iowa thinks I'm shit.
Well.
No, but that gives you a lot of, that gave me like energy for 30 years.
Right.
Like after that one conversation with him.
But that was his last show in the
family.
room, in the MGM room?
I think it was one of the last ones that he did.
That's why he was
in that
upset,
room.
huh?
No, it wasn't the last performance he did. I think he was just wrapping up his run there. He had done more.
Do you have writers, by the way? Or
No.
do you come, it's all you?
I wish I had. I used to, I bounce things off people, but no, I mean, once in a while my crew will say, "Hey, you should do something like, I'll come up with something like for the Barbie joke, and they'll say, "Oh, you should add like,
Right.
So that's good. That's a good joke.
Because a lot of guys, I feel like your generation, a lot of guys in your generation had writers.
I wish,
Like your peers, who's the guys that you'd say you came up with, so to speak? Our class. They say your class or whatever.
Well, besides like Larry the Cable Guy, it's funny because the guys those guys that were in Florida, no one had writers. So I mean, we're all,
Sure.
Dan, I think, has a few writers now. but Dan didn't have writers back then. I don't think, unless you got to be really, big and successful, you'd hire writers,
Yeah.
I didn't have, Larry Miller, I don't think he wrote everything. He wrote everything. He'd write in a comma, a pause. Brilliant. He's like Seinfeld. He's one
Right.
of those.
Meticulous. You mentioned Shandling a few times. You did Larry Sanders, yeah? I mean, was that because of your relationship with him that he was like, I want to throw you on the show?
No, they asked me to be on the roast episode where everyone was on this fucking thing.
Right.
Oh my God.
They threw on the world.
Oh no, I mean like Mel Brooks and like every Jon Stewart, Bill Maher, everyone, and I was the last guy. Again, a joke, punchline, but I killed, so it was funny. It was backfired. So they had everybody to come up and do their roast on Larry Sanders. Mm-hmm. And they said, now your special guest, Carrot Top. And I came out, had a little prop trunk behind the dais.
Yeah.
What do you call it?
Dais, yeah.
And I just started doing all my shit, and it was killed. I mean, all these comics that I'm like, oh my God, I'm like sitting next to Bill Maher and Dennis Miller, everyone, they're all fucking laughing. And then you got Mel Brooks just like losing his shit. And they come over after the taping, and Carl Reiner comes over and he says, where the fuck are you? Where do you perform? I said, everywhere. He's like, this is brilliant. I said, oh, thanks, like being funny. He's like, no, this is like vaudeville meets, like, this is crazy. Who do you write this stuff? I said, I do. And he's like, what? That was like the very first time, those kind of times where I was like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like Mel Brooks and Carl Reiner put
Right.
their arm around me and say, you're fucking a genius. I'm like, okay.
Well, for those guys, vaudeville stuff was...
Yeah, they couldn't understand where I came from and how it was so raw. It was all current events, too. It was all things, whatever topics that were happening, like Trump now or Biden's dog or whatever the fuck it would be. It would be, now.
Right.
It'd be huge, okay?
Be huge.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah. It's actually not bad with my voice.
Yeah, that's
but
pretty good with that.
It's good.
Huge. Do you do Trump at your show?
Yeah.
Yeah, you
just
do.
a little, not just that. I do one word. I go, I do like where he breathes. He goes, and then gets a laugh, but that's all I do. I said it's a.
You can't always hear that guy breathe,
I know.
man.
Yeah, all the time. And it gets the biggest laugh. I go, and then I say, I say, where Trump got his moves from, Pee Wee Herman, and we showed the video side by side where Pee Wee Herman's going,
Oh, yeah.
and that's where it's fucking killed.
Tequila.
Yeah,
Oh,
when he's going
that's
like
really-
that, and you see Trump going, it's the same fucking thing.
Paul Rubin and Trump both accused of a lot of the
That
same
last night
stuff.
they didn't boo me, but they ooh me because I said I'm running for president. I said it's gonna be me and Trump on the same ticket. It's gonna be the Trump ticket. I have these all these lights on my show, so I have these police lights that I never use. So I thought I need to use these goddamn things. Because I used to do a Cops bit where I'd have the sirens going. I would lay on the ground like an episode of Cops. Like, what's going on? I don't even know. So I changed it. Last night I said, it's the Trump top ticket, okay? Indicted but united. And the lights come on. And they kind of booed it a little bit. I said, I'm just kidding.
Boo? Really boo?
Not boo, but like ooed.
Oody. Yeah.
Oody. I was
They ooh you.
I always call it
Do you have someone open the show for you?
yeah, Bill Cosby.
Cosby opens. Yeah, he usually closes, to be honest with you. Yeah.
He
Closes
usually
down
closes
shop.
everything he does. Right? Little.
He's back out, man. They let him out. This guy-
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
You know, you do is you take a little.
He's gonna
piece,
tour with Spacey,
just
I
a
think.
little piece of the thing and put it in there. They don't know.
So no one opens the show. You go straight out and do
My
an
Trump's
hour.
better than my Cosby, as you can tell.
Yeah. The
No,
Trump
I have a
rep
guy
was
that
good.
warms up the crowd a little bit, gets them all going.
Same guy for
Rob
for
Sherwood,
the whole
yeah.
time?
Well, I've had different ones, but Rob's been with me for a bit. And see, Rob's fun because Rob is like, I'm the silly, fun guy that just,
Yeah.
I come out and I'm just pretty silly. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not edgy,
Right.
I don't think. But he's like, crowd works.
He does a lot of crowd work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a dick, like, basically, to everybody.
Where'd you
Like,
find this guy?
In Vegas, he was working there, and I said, you're, like, perfect for me because I don't want silly before me. I want something, like, to warm them up and get them all angry. So when I come up, so it's perfect.
You're like, I want someone to
He
piss
works
my
the crowd. No,
audience off.
he just picks on everybody. The whole, how you, Jesus Christ, you having fun? How old? He's 17, Jesus Christ. He just gives away shit.
Sure.
And I come out, it's like, oh, so fine.
It's more light.
Yeah, it's fine.
There's a guy
But then I'm a little edgy because I do my Trump, and they don't know what to do.
We got a guy here Rick Ingram. I don't know if you know who that is, but he's a phenomenal comic. Yeah, he does a ton of crowd work. That's kind of his specialty. And Rock saw him, loved him, and he's been opening for Rock on the past tour that he did.
There was a guy, of course, for the Tonight Show when I did that. I don't know how many times I did, 30 sometimes. Right down the street here. I drove by. I'm like, oh my gosh, I used to do the Tonight Show all the time right at that studio.
Carson too?
Right, just missed Carson.
You just missed it.
No, 2 weeks. I was on 2 weeks after Carson left.
No way. Good.
But you're
God.
still in the studio. So they still do the same gold star. So you're standing on the fucking Johnny Carson star. So it's pretty cool. But the guy that wrote and helped with Jay Leno for all the Jimmy Brogan, he's probably maybe watching this. Jimmy's a brilliant, Jimmy, great, brilliant comic.
Yeah.
He would do, and was crowd work. So he told me a story one time. He goes, yeah, Scott, I went to get to an audition. The guy brought me into his office, and the guy's like, I really like you, and maybe think for the part. You do comedy, right? And Jimmy says, yeah. He says, do you might just do a little bit of your act? So he looked at the guy. He says, where are you from? The guy's like, what's that? He said, where are you from? He says, I'm from Los Angeles. He goes, how long you been in Los Angeles? And he's like, finally the guy's like, what are we doing? He says, I'm doing my act.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah, you wanted it.
But how
right
Jimmy
here.
did it was so funny. He just says, where are you from? How long you been? How many kids you got? How you doing? He's like, what the fuck? Why are you interviewing me? That's my act.
Yeah, you want to see it, you got it.
Yeah,
Do you do a lot of corporates? Like, will you travel
used
and do
to.
corporates? No more, huh?
I wouldn't say don't. I just don't. I don't know if they asked me to do them. I did one time. Speaking of coffee, for Starbucks, and my God, it was like 7,000 or more, maybe 20,000 people. This big, huge convention thing for Starbucks, and I'm like kind of nervous because there's a lot of people.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it's good with a lot of people because the majority you're gonna kill.
Yeah.
If you bomb with 20,000, it's really bad. And it's Starbucks. Not only did I kill, but they're fucking. I first thing I said is, "You guys are wired." This crowd was like, "Yeah." They're all on Starbucks. They were just like,
Right.
fucking
Jacked.
It couldn't have been a better show.
Yeah.
But I was so nervous. I did one for like Budweiser, and they were horrible. And I said, by the way, not to tell you guys suck as an audience, but I worked for Starbucks one time when I fucking killed. You guys work in beer, and you're lame.
Right. They're all quiet.
They were just quiet
Yeah.
and worried to laugh at the guy next to them. I said, it's gonna be okay.
You get through it, though. Those things you just power
Well,
right
Seinfeld
through.
used to do that one special we talked about when they interview him right before he goes on for a corporate, and he's in a tent. It's that last special he did where it's a DVD, whatever, and they're interviewing him, and he says, "Are you ready?" He's like, "Any gig that starts in a tent is already shit."
Yeah.
And he's right, and he already set himself up for disaster.
Yeah.
But he just how he said it. It's gonna be a good show. We're in a tent.
Yeah.
Anytime you start in a tent, it's not gonna be that great.
Do you ever come and pop by and do like a store spot? Like, would you ever? Come back
I used
to, the
to do
Comedy
something
Store?
like that back in the. I used to make a joke. I'd say I have a guest set, and it was a little box that I could bring up and just do all my all the small props, the
Right.
gay mousetrap and the thing, and it'd kill because I would just walk up and do 10 minutes. It was all in this little box.
No
and I
longer.
bring all the greatest hits, and no, I should do that again because the crowd loved it. They were like, Carrot Top. And
Why wouldn't you? What would hold you back? You're like, I'm busy. I don't
Nothing.
need to do it.
Nothing. I just I would do it. I should do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let-
we should do
I
it.
think while you're in
I mean,
LA.
the improv. God, I used to do it, of course, back before I do those all the time. Bud, God bless him. He always gave me time. Like always, he let me work there all the time. The Shore, Mitzi Shore, not really much did I work the Comedy Store often.
Really?
But I never really asked either. I was like, back then when I started, it was like you're the store guy or the improv guy,
Sure.
and then you could sneak in and do Jamie's Club.
But you were buddies with a lot of store guys, right?
Oh yeah, well, Pauly.
Yeah.
Fuck.
And you knew Kinnison, right?
I knew.
Yeah.
I mean, we weren't best buds, but I knew him. Yeah.
But it is funny to think like you knew a lot of the guys that were embedded in that system, but it just wasn't your.
Yeah, no,
club.
it wasn't my. No, and I never really asked to do sets there a lot. It was kind of like, it wasn't my.
Was it her? Because she's a
No,
little.
I don't think she ever said no to me. I just think, I did the. He was so nice to me, and I think one time I did the store, and they were like, you're an improv. It was almost like, which is weird. It's almost like when I was doing the Leno stuff, I couldn't do Letterman because I was a Leno guy.
Well, right.
So we called Letterman. They say, "You're a Leno guy." And I said, "I never said I was a Leno guy."
Just gonna do what I can do.
They would label me that. So
Right.
then I did Letterman a few times, but it was always like, you're a Leno guy. I'm like, well, no, I'm a mini guy. I can do Kimmel. I can do. Why can't I? But it was weird back then. You couldn't do.
Well, those guys had to do. They drew the
Well,
line in the sand.
unless you were right, unless you were Seinfeld, you could definitely do both
Sure.
because they wanted you. But like someone like me, they're like, no, I was on that show so many times. They were just like, you're the Carrot Top guy. You're on Leno every
Well, the
night.
Tonight Show was what you did.
It was definitely great for me.
Yeah.
I mean, for Jesus, they gave me 38 spots or something of that nature.
That helped. You think that's one of the things that probably helped you the most with like your
A little,
rise?
Well, a little. No, I think I was mine was a mixture of everything, which was weird. I did all the evening at the Improvs and all the comedy, those MTV half hour, everything that was on TV at the time, which is weird. There's a lot of TV comedy shows back
Sure.
then. Sunday Comics was the first primetime one, so it came on Fox at 8:00. So you did that one, and it was like, oh, we got a primetime boost. Then you do the Tonight Show, and that was like, evening. It was huge. But then I do Regis and Kathy Lee. So the Regis and Kathy Lee was like 9 a.m. So it's hard to look back on it, but that's what I was doing. I was doing like colleges, Regis and Kathy Lee, The Tonight Show, MTV, Cartoon Network had a show on the. So I had every demographic that would see Carrot Top. Yeah, you played my college last night, and they're like, he was on Regis this morning with the old people. So and then on the Tonight Show with dildo jokes. So it was like interesting an MTV crowd. So I would have all the demographics kind of
Touching all the bases.
Yeah, digging it in a sense.
Yeah.
And then I got the AT&T commercials, and that was like, that's what made you just huge. It was like, I would say equivalent of doing like whatever those ones are now that come on every 8 seconds. And my commercial would come on every 8 seconds. I don't care where I was. Fuck. Goddamn, I could be on a bar, an airplane, and goddamn fucking AT&T commercial.
That's where you got paid, though. You used to get paid from those.
I got paid okay, but it was the publicity, the
exposure was
exposure.
good.
So what happened? It was huge. I couldn't walk down the street with people saying, "Jesus Christ, fucking Carrot Top." But I remember being in a mall in like I don't know Minnesota, a Mall of America or something.
Oh, yeah.
On my 9th mile, trying to get to the Gap, the 3rd Gap, and this lady and her people were like, Carrot Top. And I said, yeah. What are you doing in Minneapolis? And I said, oh, I'm doing a show at the theater tonight. And they said, a show? Like a phone show? And I remember I put it in my act for years. I said, a phone show? And they go, yeah. I said, yeah, it's all about dialing. Come down there early. They only knew me as this phone guy. They didn't know I was a comedian. They thought I was a phone guy.
They're like, aren't you the phone? Aren't you just a phone guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
People would come to my shows, and I'd say, how many people have no idea that I'm a comedian? They're like a third of the crowd. I said, how many people dialed in the center of the wedding? Fuck off. And they would all clap, yeah.
That's like the advent
But they were
of the
huge. I
internet,
did like
though.
700 of those commercials, whatever they were, 770 of them.
A lot.
We did more than Bill Cosby's Jell-O. That's all I remember. Because that was like the day on the set. Like, we just did more than Bill Cosby's Jell-O.
Everyone.
Yeah, the AT&T
We
to
beat 'em.
collect calls to And then they this is funny. My friend has a comedian just said it. I just got I had an audition for AT&T just 2 days ago. 3 days. I said audition.
Recently.
Yeah, I just said, isn't there like a strike going on?
Yeah.
He said, oh. I said, what are they doing? He said, they're doing a commercial, and they want me to be in roller skates on the beach. And I said, really? That's interesting. I said, hold on a second, Murray. So I got my phone out, and I Googled Carrot Top AT&T roller skates. Boom, comes up. I said, like this? He's like, what is that? I said, my AT&T commercial. That's how lame these fucking people are. They're going to go back and write the same fucking thing I did 30 years ago.
Well, it costs them less
money. It's going to
money.
be it's not going to be a collect call. It'll just be,
Yeah.
Isn't that funny? I'm like that? He's like, holy shit.
It's the same shit.
Same exact, and he had a striped T-shirt and knee pads and shorts and rollerblade and helmets. That's exactly.
Well, that's what they did. They just dug in the vault. They were like, what can we just do again?
Of course they did.
Yeah,
of
tired.
course. I just thought it was.
They'll
funny.
bring back the
I don't
Budweiser
care,
frogs
but I
soon.
just thought it was funny. Yeah, well, they're going to bring back everything.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't already have a Barbie movie.
Spuds McKenzie, that'll
Yes,
come
Spuds
back.
McKenzie
Yeah.
will be back. Yeah.
What will the Budweiser frogs say? Not Budweiser. What will it say? Come on.
Yeah. It
Easy
used to be
setup.
it used to be Budweiser.
Yeah.
I used to have a
What
joke
will
with
it say now?
We're all sued. We're all done.
Transgender. Yeah.
Transgender. That's great. That's really good.
No, you know what? That's so funny. Is like they do recycle their, like you see the same things, and sometimes my mind goes, Have I seen this?
Am I
shit
seen
before?
this shit before? Oh yeah, 1970.
Right, they just redid it.
Even like that. I just said it last night. This is weird. We were backstage with my crew. Someone said some guy walked in and had a knee brace on his knee somewhere yesterday. I said, what happened to your knee? He said, oh, fuck. It was pickleball. I said, pickleball? And he goes, yeah. I said, pickleball? And he goes, yeah, you play? I said, no. And he's like, I said, wait, is it like ping pong? Pickleball? He's like, yeah. I said, how did you hurt your knee playing pickleball? He said, oh, fuck, it was violent. So then I said to my friend, I said, is pickleball new or old? What do you think?
It's old.
That's what I said.
Yeah, right?
They said, no, it's new. It happened during COVID. I said, no. Pickleball is like 1968 or something, 70s. And they said, nope. And I said, look it up. And they looked it up. It's been around since the 60s.
Yeah, I feel like
I'm
I
like,
remember
pickleball's
pickleball.
not new.
I've seen it at the beach for years and years and years.
They
Guys
just
used to
made-
play
they
at the
just-
beach.
Yeah, it's not new.
It just hit because...
It just hit again because they couldn't do anything.
Correct.
Right.
It's a thing to do outside. And also...
Masturbation, by the way, is coming back.
It is.
If pickleball can come back.
Yeah. Well, no, but they're changing the way
That's
you
how
do
I hurt
it.
my knee, by the way.
It's jerking off?
Yeah.
Unbelievable,
I do it in
dude.
a really weird way.
Well, stop using the crest of your knee to jerk off.
Yeah, I do. I have a weird way to do it.
I want to say this. I really want to thank you for coming on the show. It means a lot to me.
Thanks.
It was a cool moment for me when they were like, oh, I think Carrot Top's going to be in LA if we can have him on the show. And I'll tell you why. You have taken the hit with grace in the way that you were talking about the Family Guy stuff. And I think there's something really strong to be said about you continuing to have a successful career and not taking yourself serious and not being kind of indignant about all the bullshit and being, I don't know, and still being successful and fun and a very nice and cool person from what I know. So I think that it says a lot. It speaks volumes about you, and it will do for the rest of time. Because if you are able to like kind of make fun of yourself or let the thing be a part of you, I think then you beat the shit.
Very well said. I think that's one reason why I think people dig it, because I do show, my whole show is, as you know, comedy is self-deprecating, but my whole show is that. I mean, literally from beginning to end, with sprinkled in other things. But people always say to the show, like, I love how you pick on everyone, including yourself. I said, well, that's how I got into this. I mean, I was red hair and freckles in a beach town.
Yeah.
The fuck? I mean, I wanted to be a blonde surfer. I didn't want to be a redheaded fucking kid.
Yeah.
And so I got picked on my whole life. And then when I got into comedy, I got picked on in my adult life. And I'm still, so I think you're right. That's the only reason it's worked, is because it's a joke on a joke. It's fun. And if you're right, if it did hurt, I'd probably be a really mean, bitter person.
Sure.
So this makes it fun. You're like, you know what? Yay, okay. And people say, oh, you're laughing all the way to the bank. Well, no, I'm not laughing all the way to the bank. You're just kind of giggling.
Somebody else
You're
goes to
kind
the
of
bank for
giggling
you.
along the way. Too,
Yeah.
you know?
I'm giggling on the way to the
along
bank.
the way.
Yeah.
You're laughing. You're just kind of giggling. Like,
Well,
okay.
if the fans want us to continue to show love, they can see you 6 nights a week.
Yeah, 6 nights a week.
Next year, I guess maybe if you do tour, we'll get to see you outside of Vegas if you tour again. If you
Yes,
tour
I
again.
hope we plan to.
But go see Carrot Top
And all I
at
had
the
to do,
Lexer.
and all you had to do was ask to be on the. I didn't have you. You just asked.
That's right.
And I said yes. I didn't.
Yeah, and you say yes.
And you said something earlier. I'll leave you in this because it's pretty funny. Only because it's about comedy and it's about is that how you got on the show? It was something you said earlier.
What's that?
Is that how you got on the show? The other show? And I said no.
On Larry Sanders.
Larry said,
Yeah.
So this is how I ended up in Bill Maher's show. This is great. So I go. It's the HBO. The guy that was the president of HBO at the time. I don't know how I got invited to this. Everyone was there. This is one of those things. Looking back, it's like all of HBO. Anyone that was on HBO at the time was there.
Was the Sopranos era?
Yes,
Yeah.
maybe. So Robin Williams. I mean, everyone's at this, and every table's it's the ones where they have like 13 people at each big round table, and Robin Williams and Bill Clinton was there. I mean, everyone was there. I go to the bathroom because it's a bathroom break. I just get up and I go in, and there's like bathroom stalls, urinals, and I see like Casey Kasem. This is weird, like Casey Kasem, sitting right next to me, right? So Casey Kasem is an open stall. Larry King with the suspenders.
Oh yeah.
And like so many celebrities in the stall. And I was like, so I waited. Casey Kasem just, and all of a sudden one opens up. So I sit next to Casey Kasem peeing, and I remember just looking at him like, every comic has to do a Casey Kasem, coming in at number 5, and I'm laughing because I'm like, I do a Casey Kasem impression when I started out, and then Bill Maher comes into the urinal next to me to start to pee. I'm just laughing and just, Casey Kasem next to me. This is funny. I look over and I see Bill Maher. I'm like, holy fuck. It's like Bill Maher
Yeah.
is peeing next to me. And I didn't know what to do, so I just said, that's a nice penis. And he said, what? I said, just saying, since I've been in here, that's the nicest penis I've seen. And he just fucking lost his mind. And he's, that Bill Maher laugh where he just looks at me and he's just laughing and he washes, he fucking leaves. And I'm like, well, that's good. I made him laugh.
That worked, yeah.
And I walked out to go back to my table. And I think I'm sitting with Whoopi Goldberg or whoever fucking sitting at my table. And I see Bill Maher still laughing and telling everybody his table this thing. And he looks over and he's looking at me and he's like, come here. I'm like, fuck. He says, come here. So I walked over. I said, hey, he said, tell him what you just did. I said, you just did. I don't need to tell him again. Right. He says, this guy just, I said, and it's not. For those of you who know Bill, it's not the nicest penis. I said, it's a little nicer than Casey Kasem. That's all I meant. And he was like, you want to be in my show? And I said, yeah. He says, how about tomorrow? And I said, wow, I could do tomorrow. And then I was on the next day.
Holy shit.
Politically incorrect.
That's great.
Yeah.
Can you do tomorrow?
So any young comic, if you want to be in a show, just
talk about
tell them
somebody's dick.
Did have a nice dick and you might get it.
I really wanted you to say to Casey Kasem, coming in at number one, piss.
Coming
out at number one, piss.
It's so great.
Okay, listen, we end the show the same way. You look into that camera right there, and you say one word or one phrase to end the episode. It used to be a word, and then people were like, I don't know. So you can say a phrase of wisdom. It can be funny. Whatever you want, one word or a phrase whenever you're ready into that camera.
One word?
One word or a phrase. Some people like a word. Some people like to say a piece of wisdom or a piece of knowledge or something like the let the treasure be the treasure. But you decide.
Yeah. Have fun in life. You get one chance. Fuck a hot one.
In here, we pour whisk, 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 whisk.